Greetings, and this is Media Center Ukraine. I'm Natalia Stavroprava. We continue the briefings. We have Andrii Vitrenko, First Deputy Minister for Education and Science of Ukraine. Greetings. Let's start by recapping the past academic year we're completing now in the times of war. Good day, glory to Ukraine. Indeed, we are completing the academic year in all the secondary education facilities. In some territorial communities, the tuition is still continuing, but will be over by the 30th of June. This academic year passed in the context of war. We resumed tuition on the 14th of March, which became a kind of the beginning of the new academic year. And this online tuition has proven that the Ukrainian academic system is resilient, and the faculty and the students have a yearning for knowledge and will do all that we can to maintain an effective operation of our educational system as a highly educated nation, a nation of innovators and technological uh, gurus can withstand the aggression first and then turn us into a prosperous country that will reach for the stars and take its due place in the united European family. If you would like to hear some detailed insights, then I can say that based on the objectives set by the military administrations, the government of Ukraine, and the education of science, we issued the certificates of secondary education, the certificates of higher education. Some schools had their graduations organized for vocational schools too. So all Ukrainian graduates have received their completion of studies certificates. We had amended the laws for the new admission campaign for this year. And this year, a national multidisciplinary test was organized as an admission criteria for the first year students at the bachelor levels. We issuing the certificates, and since the 24th of February of this year, since 6 o'clock in the morning, the ministry has operated 24/7 mode. So the objectives defined for ourselves by the top leadership of the country and the Ukrainian society have been met. You can make different takes on us, but we are proud of every day we served in our line of work. These days, the registration is almost over for this multidisciplinary test. How would you assess the number of students wanting to take it? We are cautiously optimistic about the prospects of the Ukrainian children staying on with their studies in Ukraine. 229,000 Ukrainian graduates registered to take the National Multidisciplinary Test. The registration is open to create the 9 year of school leavers offices, and children are wanting to take the National Multidisciplinary Test abroad, where they are stationed. We've never enjoyed such support as over 20 countries of Europe, over 40 cities of Europe have accepted our children, helped us organize the multidisciplinary test, drawing on their own facilities and resources, both personal resources and facilities, giving us premises, computers. They will oversee security there with police in charge and medical services on the ready. So this is a massive effort, and I'd like to thank our European partners for this assistance they've given us. But this is not the only opportunity to take the National Multidisciplinary Test. Unfortunately, people are highly mobile, meaning people travel to safer area. And since the 16th to the 20th of August, we will convene an additional session where children can take it. And from the 12th to 16th September, we will have a special session for the test. So many sessions are aimed to leave no child behind so that every chance can gain their place through competition at the higher educational establishments to both acquire European knowledge and um, receive the Ukrainian education as students and faculty make up universities. Andrii Vitrenko from the Media Center Ukraine. I'd like to inquire about the changes that are set to happen in Ukrainian university education as we'll have to accommodate the circumstances and there might be fewer applicants this year. Some universities will physically not be able to launch the academic years because they're in occupation or in the line of hostilities. So there must be difficulty with supporting the faculty, the professors, the teachers. So how is universities system adapting to the new academic year? Andrea, thank you for your question. It's a very apt question, very timely question too, and a profound one. So today, a letter was filed to the uh, pre-higher and higher educational establishments about the beginning of the new academic year. So tomorrow, we are going to convene a massive online meeting. We do we do it every week on Tuesdays and Fridays when we convene with the pre-higher and higher education facility faculty to make sure they can sustain their operations. Indeed, this letter recommends uh, this academic year where security allows, and security is the prime concern for us. And we need to ensure security for the faculty and for the students and the technical starting August 22. However, there's a fact I'd like to state. Our higher education facilities enjoy a high degree of autonomy, so the leadership of these institutions is to make the decision at their own discretion whether to resume the tuition and the form of tuition. So, considering the situation where security is the prime concern, we can continue online studies, but the final say is with the leadership of the institution. We would recommend going offline as far as possible, but considering the constraints and limitation like the ability of bomb shelters, all the security considerations, perhaps several shifts could be considered. There could be a rotation of days or rotation of shifts. So one shift would say go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The other could do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Conditional on the safety constraints. We would like to have the students back in the classrooms, but there are two opinions. Some call for offline, some call for online, and the third party is undecided. What would be more preferable for them? We are prepared to accept any offer coming from a doctor, but is medical education possible remotely? Can we train a fighter plane pilot remotely? There are some technical specialties that call for hands-on tuition. There are some other majors that are more conducive to remote learning, like marketing, humanitarian, arts, etc. Uh, there are some physical limitation for online tuition in some places. We can consider the different approaches to train vocational school students. There are many opportunities to restore the tuition. W- The COVID limitations have um, made us transition to online studies. Recently, we attended a UNESCO conference. There are still some pandemic limitations in force in a number of countries. So we made the decision that online education and is an integral part of education these days, helping us optimize the teaching in a certain way. But it's equally important for the children to have the chance to socialize, to communicate, to stay in touch, and not through social networks, but in person. And there's nothing better than in person contact between the kids in the classroom and the teacher or the students and a professor. Going back in history, we'll recall that many people had their tutors to look up to. We're limited in time, so we have another question for you. So how will this academic year start for the school or university students? Okay, that's two parts to your question. Students of schools and students of universities. The reason being that the local administration or local communities are in charge of schools and the Ministry of Education is in charge of universities and colleges. Therefore, we recommend that the new academic year for the secondary education start offline with security considerations factored in and with some limitations also in place. All schools and adjacent territories have to be audited and mine cleared. The notification system has to be in place, evacuation rules have to be in place. The information needs to be made available about the civil protection facilities. These facilities have to be upgraded and re equipped. That's a massive number of challenges, but the local education department officials will make it happen by the 1st of September. As for remote education, that can only happen with the approval of the military administration. And we recommend it in the precarious areas that are designated as such. And 40 kilometers within the reach of the line of contact, as the Russians can reach 40 kilometers with artillery. The school academic year will start as we are Ukrainians, glory and honor to the indomitable. And if the school students had their school ruined, or they evacuated, they can join offline education at their place of stay or join their school online. As for the university students, we have two groups of them. First are senior groups, the third, fourth, and fifth year studies, and first year of master students. They will start their studies on the 15th of August. The first year students, the bachelor's degree students, will be admitted on the 15th of September, and first year master students will start their studies on the 1st of October. Why are you recommending the university to start their studies in August? It's due to the limitations we have to do with the online education. A lot of students will need to study offline and want to be back in the classrooms. Some qualification papers for the bachelor degrees are still ongoing, And the students have to be given a chance to go back to the classrooms as they've been deprived of the opportunity for 2 years. They've been basically deprived of online education where they can benefit most from their tutors and from their professors. So, this is the best means to optimize their schooling for the university students. But should the situation deteriorate, we will recommend transitioning to the online course of study. And our final question: if the school students are following us from the temporarily occupied territories, what would you tell them on your personal behalf? It's a difficult question. I've been responsible for the temporarily occupied territory for 2 years now. I would tell them, you're not forgotten. Don't worry, you are entitled to university education. You will enjoy equal rights with all the other applicants. We will have no limitation in place for your schooling and your education. Now, we are designating a special procedure for admission of the kids from the temporarily occupied territories. These are Donbass and Crimea. And now for the newly occupied territories, this is a new category we are bringing in. We are working with the Ministry for the Temporarily Occupied Territories to bring in a new admission procedure so that all the kids have the right to study in the Ukrainian schools and universities. Thank you. This was Andrii Vitrenko, First Deputy Minister of Education and Science of Ukraine. This is all for today. Please follow the announcers at the Media Center Ukraine Resources and hang on there as we are day closer